This is Lab 1 for Physical Science Online, and we were just given a few simple questions that we were asked to give first our estimated answer and then our actual calculated answer. And so for the first question, we were just given some national budgets, the national budget for debt, and for the first question, to calculate, we were asked to make an estimate on how much each citizen's share of the national budget would be. And so for me, I made some estimations right here. I just divided 3 trillion by 300 million first of all, and my estimated answer I just put 10,000. And then for the actual calculated answer, I divided 3.77 trillion by 320 million, 101,000, and 221. And for that answer, I actually got 11,781 and 25 cents to be exact. For number 2, we were asked to estimate on how much each citizen's share of the national debt may be. And for that, the estimate, I just rounded about 18 trillion divided by 300 million, and so I put 60,000 as a nice clean answer. And then for the actual calculated answer, I divided 18 trillion 77 million 602,000 I'm sorry, 18 trillion 77 billion 602,000 million, okay, I'm going to start over. 18 trillion 77 billion 602 million 147,852. And I divided that number by 320 million 101,221. And for that answer, I actually got 56,474. And that was the actual calculated answer. And then for number 2, on the second part, we were asked to decide how much of a percentage 141 billion was of the national budget. And so for that, I divided 141 billion by the budget, which was 3.77 trillion. And for that answer, I got about 4%. And then on number 3 of that part, we were asked to see how much 0.01% of $100 was. So if we had $100 and we lost 0.01% of that, how much money did we actually use? And so to find a percentage, you just divide the smaller number by the bigger number. And I just divided, or on this one actually I just moved the decimal over 2 places, and I got $1 for that answer. And so for number 4, the question, we were asked to answer the question before we went on to the rest of the page, and it was just Mr. Smith and Miss Jones each run government departments. The government auditors did their annual accounting. They found that $700 was missing from Mr. Smith's department, and the accountants criticized Mr. Smith, and then they found that $140,000 was missing from Miss Jones's department, and the accountants actually gave Miss Jones a good rating. And so my guess on why the accounts got different ratings was just it depended on how much each department had in their how much money each department had originally was dependent. So I went on to number 5, and it went on to ask, during an inquiry, the auditors revealed that Mr. Smith's department actually handled $100,000 last year, while Ms. Jones' department handled $1 billion. And so then we were asked to find what percent of Mr. Smith's budget was missing. So I divided the $700 by $100,000, and I found that it was about 1%. And then I did the same thing for Miss Jones's budget, and so I divided 140,000 by $1 billion, and I got 0.014% for that one. And then on part C of that question, we were asked again, can you explain now the accountant's ratings from the question on the previous page? And so I just said, yes, the amount missing was all dependent on how much of a percentage it was to the amount they had in their department originally. And so it kind of coincided with my first guess. And number 6 on this page, according to the USAID.gov, the total request for U.S. aid for 2014 is $20.4 billion. What percent of the national budget is foreign aid? And so I just divided the $20.4 billion by the national budget, and I came up with 0.5%. And the next few questions were fairly easy, and I just had to get a dollar bill, and I just measured that dollar bill to find out how many centimeters it was in length and how many centimeters it was in width. And in length, I got 15.6 centimeters, and for the width, I got 6.6 centimeters. Number 8, if you lay the $24 billion bills end to end, how many miles would the trail be? And so number 8, I just converted 15.6 centimeters into miles, and I got 2,326,413.74 miles. And then there was a part B to that number 8. How many times around the earth would this string of billion bills reach? The circumference of the earth is approximately 25,000 miles. And so number 8, I just did 15.6 centimeters times 1 billion, and that answer was 96,933 centimeters. And I divided that, or I put that into 25,000 miles, and I got a little over 3 times, so it would reach around the earth a little over 3 times. And then on number 9, how many square miles of the trail of $1 billion cover? About 3. And then on number 10, the last question, let's say that the government hires someone to count $24 billion bills, and let's say it takes about 5 seconds to count 10 out loud. How long will it take that person to count those $24 billion bills, assuming it's all there? Put your answer in years. And so in number 10, I did 24 billion divided by 10, and I got 2,400,000,000, and I multiplied that by 5 seconds. And for the seconds, I got 12 million seconds, and I converted that into years, and I got a little over 380 years. So that's how long it would take. And then that was the last question. And so this is the conclusion of my Lab 1. And see you next time.